Yeah, that's real talk. And I know in the last interview we did, you was telling me how Tupac, he was telling you that some of the people that work at these labels are devils. Listen to this audio from Suge Knight. He was saying the same thing you were saying on this podcast.
I didn't have to do a deal with Pac because Interscope didn't want Pac anymore. They was giving me Pac contract because they didn't want Pac no more. He was too much for them. Pac used to walk in the motherfucking office and call them all motherfucking the devils, and they didn't do nothing for him when he was in prison. They didn't help him, so he was done with them. They gave me his contract, so I didn't have to give Pac a new contract. The reason why I gave Pac a new contract because on Interscope, Pac probably was getting, after he paid everybody, 6 or 7 points. 1 point on a million records is like $80,000. I gave Pac $1 and then start giving him $2. So if Pac sold a million records on Interscope, he probably would have made $600,000, maybe $500,000 to $600,000. If he sold a million records with me, he'd have made, $2 million. Big difference. If Pac did a video for Interscope and they paid $1 million for a video, they charged Pac $1 million. If I did a video with Pac and I paid $1 million, I charge him $500,000 and I pay $500,000.
Mm. Yeah, it definitely sounded like Pac because, he had a, he dealt with Interscope, and that's exactly what he was telling us. Like, you about to deal with devils. You know what I mean? Like straight, people that's gonna smile in your face, but their heart is they devilish, they evil people. And I think Pac understood why, and now I understood why Pac was calling these people devils, because he knew they didn't really care about the black community or the inner cities or the Latino community. Their main goal was to push this music out. Even if some of that music is calling to, black on black crime or whatever, he knew their main goal is that we just want to make money off these people. So you feel that, like if you go in a record company and you looking at people's faces and you looking at these individuals, and they looking back at you, and in your heart, like, these dudes are smiling and laughing, but deep in their heart, they hate me. They just want that money. They look at money from you. They don't care how many people die in the process, like I said before. So Pac knew that coming in, like, man, these people is cutthroat. They don't really care about me. He knew it. And like Suge said in the clip you just sent me, like, they left him in jail. And that was what I understood and why Pac went to death row. You know what I mean? Imagine Pac selling all these records and Interscope ain't bailing them out. That don't even make sense.
Yeah, that don't make no sense, man. Me Against the World, that went #1 on Billboard. But why was they doing that, though?
Because they probably thought like he's finished. Like, they never know. They probably thought, they smelt trouble. This is the type of trouble these record companies don't like. They like troubles, meaning that the type of trouble they like is if they record causing black people killing each other, Latin people killing each other, they don't care about that trouble because it's not coming back to them. Legal trouble is what they don't like. So when an individual who's an artist on them is getting problems legal and illegal problems and going through court cases where it can jeopardize their so-called name, then that's probably when they like, what, enough is enough. Now this stuff is coming back to us. Pac might be asking for money for a lawyer. He might need this. Now it's time to let him go because, you know what I mean? These are the problems we don't want, unfortunately.
Right. But I want to ask you, right? Did Tupac want to sign with Death Row? Like, we all know that, once he got to Death Row, him and Suge Knight became real cool. But I'm talking about at first when he was in prison. Did he really want to go to Death Row?
I never knew about Death Row until he called us like, I'm going to Death Row, excited. And I think I seen an interview before with Suge try to sign him years ago and Pac didn't want to do it. But when he wanted to go to Death Row, it wasn't nothing from his side that made us feel like he felt like he had no other choice. Because it seemed like that was a power move. You know what I mean? And even Pac was like, I'm going to Death Row and it's on. You know what I mean? We found out after he already made his mind up. I think I look at it from a strategic, it was war. So I don't even look at it like he was forced. Some people might say it, you know what I mean? And whether war forced him to make that move, but at that particular time, what record label was more powerful than Death Row Records? You understand? Like, they had the whole West Coast on lock. They were selling the most records. Suge had a little army behind him. Pac knew that because he was running around LA. So I think Pop look at it like, this is the people that I feel like I can finally call a home. You know what I mean? And you hear some people say, like, you hear some of other friends, Pop friends say that he felt like had no other choice. Even if you had no other choice, he went there. Him and Suge became, good friends. I think it was a strategic, not to take away. For example, I heard an interview with Sibo, somebody else was like Pac ain't really wanted to be on death row. So when people tell me these things, I don't really knock what they say. You know what I mean? Because everybody probably had their intimate or private times with Pac, and Pac might have told them these things. You understand? Pac might have told him, I have no choice but to go to death row. I'm just talking about, from my opinion, what I saw. You know what I mean? I saw that he was happy at death row. He wanted to go to death row. But now that I'm older, I look at it like he probably did it strategically. He felt like he was going to war with some individuals that the only people that he felt can go to war with him was Suge Knight and death row.